In today's Final Touch, did you ever want to swim like a fantasy sea creature?
Well, here's your chance.
You always have me asking these bizarre questions.
A mermaiding class in Finland teaches adult women and men how to swim in a garment that combines a monofin flipper with fabric from the waist down to create a distinctive mermaid. An old instructor has taught more than 200 mermaids and mermen how to swim with a tail on. One student describes the experience as magical. By the way, you can buy a fin online for $195. That's our time for now. News 3 at 5 starts right now. More details about Jamie Kloss. Details on the suspect and why he did it.
This is News 3 at 5.
Thanks for staying with News 3. The man accused of killing James and Denise Kloss and kidnapping Jamie Kloss in court today.
Madison made his initial court appearance this afternoon, where he was charged with 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide, 1 count of kidnapping, and 1 count of armed burglary. According to the criminal complaint, Patterson worked at a cheese factory, and one morning before he went to work, he stopped behind a school bus where he saw Jamie get off the bus. He said he didn't know who she was, but at that moment he decided she was the one he was going to kidnap. A $5 million bond has been set for Patterson.
And that initial court appearance this afternoon came just hours after the criminal complaint was released.
That complaint included many disturbing details surrounding what happened. We have team coverage of the case with Jamie Perez, Kelly Arthur, and Amanda Quintana, and we'll begin tonight with Jamie.
In a criminal complaint releasing details about Jamie Kloss's kidnapping, Jake Thomas Patterson admitted to gruesome details about his plan. Details saying when he first saw Jamie getting off a school bus, he had no idea who she was, but knew she was the one he was going to take. He also stated how he used a 12-gauge shotgun to inflict the most damage and how he was planning to kill anyone in the house so he could take Jamie. Jamie Kloss revealed to detectives in the complaint how she heard her father get shot before Patterson found her and her mom hiding in the bathroom, how she was kept under his bed barricaded for up to 12 hours at a time, threatening her if she tried to leave. She told police how he hit her on the back when he thought she had tried to escape. Patterson admitted to killing Jamie's parents and kidnapping her. The 2 counts of homicide both entail being in prison for life. The kidnapping charge comes with a $100,000 fine and or 40 years. The count for armed robbery comes with $50,000 fine and 15 years in prison.
I'm going to specifically order Mr. Patterson that you may not possess any firearms. You may not have contact with Jamie Kloss.
Patterson's bail is set at $5 million cash, which the district attorney says is appropriate given the nature of this case.
Kept the shotgun shell inside of his house for 2 weeks in case the police came. He remained in hiding after abducting Jamie for 88 days before he was apprehended. Your Honor, all of this indicates the defendant is a flight risk, a danger to the public, and he is unlikely to further return for further court proceedings without an exceedingly high cash bail.
There's a lot to take in from the criminal complaint, but still many questions that we all have and are still waiting for answers on. The full criminal complaint can be found on our website. There are many details that we were not able to include in this on-air report that you can find at channel3000.com. This is also still a very active investigation going on, so more details to come as they are made available.
Thank you, Jamie.
News 3 has had a crew in Barron County since Jamie's safe return.
Our Kelly Arthur is live at the Barron County Courthouse, where the district attorney's office answered questions after Patterson's appearance today. Kelly?
That's right. Barron County District Attorney Brian Wright speaking behind me at that podium, saying a conviction in this case is extremely important given the circumstances and attention it's getting. He says he and his prosecution team are seeking justice for James and Denise Kloss and, of course, Jamie herself. He said Patterson hasn't signed a confession, but Wright did say Patterson is giving a lot of information regarding the case, and considering the relatively happy outcome, Wright used the opportunity to commend Jamie.
We are seeking justice. We have 2 parents of a 13-year-old who are deceased. We have a 13-year-old who was abducted for 88 days against her will forcibly. It doesn't get any more serious than that. And I assure you that these prosecutors here, all of us, want justice for both James and Denise and for Jamie.
Jamie's family was inside the courtroom. They didn't comment after court adjourned. Wright was asked if Jamie herself will testify if Patterson goes to trial. That remains unclear. And I also want to talk about the potential of additional charges. It's important to remember that Jamie was held captive in Douglas County. That's separate from Barron. And depending on what authorities find out happened to Jamie when she was inside Patterson's home, there could be additional charges. Something we'll certainly be following. Back to you.
Keely Arthur reporting live. Keely, thank you.
And we're also learning more about the plans that Patterson made to abduct Jamie and the randomness in which he chose her as a victim.
A kidnapping by a stranger is very rare. Our Amanda Quintana spoke to a psychologist about what might have been going through Patterson's head. Amanda?
Yes, well, these stranger abductions, known as stereotypical kidnappings, make up less than 1% of missing children cases. Now, most are taken by someone they know, a family member or at least an acquaintance. But Leanna Burke, a clinical associate professor in UW-Madison's psychology department, says in many of these stranger abductions, the kidnapper is acting on a thought or a fantasy they've developed in their head, but it's not necessarily focused on a particular victim. We now know Patterson didn't even know Jamie's name, but chose her as his target when he saw her get off the school bus.
Seems like a lot of these are crimes of opportunity, that somebody was available, you know, that they were in that place in that particular time. And that made the perpetrator feel that success was likely.
Obviously, this way of thinking and behavior by Patterson is different from most people, but Burke says that doesn't mean he has a diagnosable mental health condition. He could, but if so, Burke says it wouldn't have much influence on this type of criminal behavior. We will hear more from Burke at 6 o'clock, including why she says it's important for parents to remember how rare this type of crime really is, and really there's a very low chance that your child is becoming a target on their way from school.
All right, Amanda Quintana in our newsroom. Amanda, thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. For the first time, we're hearing the call that Jamie Kloss has been found.
Hi, I have a young lady at my house right now, and she says her name is Jamie Kloss.
Okay, have you seen her photo, ma'am?
Yes, it is her. I 100% think it is her.
That was Kristen Kasinskis, the woman who called police when Jean Nutter was walking her dog and brought Jamie Kloss to the Kasinskis' home. Jamie told her that Jake Patterson killed my parents and took me. Kasinskis says she doesn't really know Patterson, even though he lives 3 doors down from her. She says she taught him middle school science, but only remembers that he was quiet.
Meanwhile, CBS This Morning's Gail King is in Barron, Jamie's hometown. She spoke to 3 of Jamie's relatives about the moment they learned she had been rescued. Jamie's family members say she's doing pretty well under the circumstances.
I have to pinch myself that I woke up this morning and it's finally like I don't have that pit in the bottom of my stomach anymore.
It's such an overwhelming, amazing, happy ending to such a horrible beginning.
I still feel a little in shock. I just want to go over there every day to my mom's house and see Jamie. It's amazing to see her home.
Now that is Jamie's cousin, Lindsay Smith, and she actually works at the Barron County Jail where Patterson is being held, but she says she has not seen him. Supervisors are making sure she will not have to interact with the suspect. They say it wouldn't be fair to either of them.
Let's get a first look at the weather now. Gary Canalti is on the weather patio. Gary?
Yeah, we have an alert day in the forecast for tonight for the possibility for some freezing drizzle. Already been getting some reports of freezing drizzle out to the west. Let's start out by taking a look at the current snow depth. You can see here in southern Wisconsin, we were missed by that weekend storm just to our south. Most of Illinois got snow, but it pretty much stopped right at the Wisconsin-Illinois state line. And there are a few flurries heading southward from central Wisconsin. There could be a few flurries of snow mixing with the freezing drizzle, but freezing drizzle just is not detected by radar. That's why it's so hard to predict exactly who's going to get it. Not looking for heavy amounts of precipitation, but it could be enough to make secondary roads and side streets slick. Winter weather advisories are in effect for all of southern Wisconsin until 9 p.m. for areas north and west of the Dells, until midnight for areas west of Lone Rock, and until 9 a.m. Tuesday morning for the Madison and Milwaukee metropolitan areas. Low temperatures this morning started out generally in the 20s, some teens up to the north. High temperatures today right around 30. The cloud cover kept temperatures down a bit, but we're still above normal. and current temperatures now are in the middle 20s. These temperatures will hold nearly steady through the overnight hours, and there could be some areas of fog. Already starting to see some out toward the Mississippi River, and that's where the freezing drizzle is more likely to happen. So look for areas of fog and freezing drizzle overnight into early tomorrow morning. Temperatures will be in the middle 20s by tomorrow morning. Look for the freezing drizzle to end, but skies will stay cloudy tomorrow with a high of 36. That's your first alert forecast.
All right, thank you, Gary. An ambulance that was seen last night driving in emergency mode with flames underneath eventually pulled over and became fully engulfed in fire. Sauk County officials responded around 6:40 last night to reports of a vehicle fire involving an ambulance that was going south on Highway 12 near Highway 136. The ambulance pulled off to the side of the road and was still on fire. Shortly after the ambulance crew got everyone out of the vehicle, it became fully engulfed. An ambulance from Sauk Prairie EMS responded to continue transporting the patient. A second ambulance responded for a second occupant who suffered smoke inhalation. During the incident, southbound lanes of Highway 12 were shut down for about 2 hours.
Madison police are looking for 4 suspects after a home robbery on Dutch Mill Road. Police say 4 armed men entered a home there Sunday night about 7:22 p.m., robbing a 43-year-old man and 40-year-old woman. According to an incident report, 3 of the men had handguns. 1 had a shotgun. The 4 men demanded drugs, guns, and money from the victims. The men drove away in a dark sedan with tinted windows. Detectives in the case say they believe the victims were targeted.
A new report says Wisconsin's juvenile prisons continue to use pepper spray on young inmates and keeps them in solitary confinement longer than 7 days at a time, which is in defiance of a federal court order. The American Civil Liberties Union of Wisconsin and the Juvenile Law Center, which represented inmates, filed a class action lawsuit over conditions at the Lincoln Hills and Copper Lake juvenile prisons. The report says while significant improvements have been made in how Lincoln Hills and Copper Lake prisons operate, there is still more work to be done to be in compliance with a federal court order. Governor Tony Evers' spokeswoman says the report confirms the governor's belief that much more must be done to improve safety and wellness for the students and staff at Lincoln Hills.
The American Red Cross asking for blood and platelet donations to prevent a blood shortage from continuing throughout these winter months. The Red Cross says it has collected 27,000 fewer blood and platelet donations during the weeks of Christmas and New Year's than is needed for a sufficient blood supply. As of now, the Red Cross has less than a 3-day supply of most blood types on hand. Now, the ideal amount is a 5-day supply. Eligible donors are encouraged to make an appointment to donate. There will also be blood drives throughout our area over the next couple of weeks. To find out where you can donate, just head to our website, channel3000.com.
Dane County is buying some new equipment for its community park. Dane County Executive Joe Parisi was joined by Friends of Anderson Farm County Park to announce the purchase of a new tractor. The new equipment will be used at the county park for forest restoration, prairie building and maintenance, a food pantry garden, agricultural and educational activities, and its dog park.
When we look at the tractor behind us, not only is that going to be great in a very practical matter for moving forward with all of the things that we want to accomplish and that the friends and the community want to accomplish here, but it's always also symbolic of people coming together to accomplish great things.
The tractor will be used to advance the county park's agricultural mission following its successful $23,000 fundraising campaign by Anderson Park Friends.
And there is more to come on News 3 at 5. Up next, the longest government shutdown in history is now in its 24th day. Neither side appears ready to budge on funding for a southern border wall.
And President Trump is pushing back against reports that he may have worked on behalf of Russia.
And the week starts on a down note on Wall Street. The Dow losing 86, the NASDAQ off 65.5. The S&P 500 dropped more than 13. We'll be right back. The partial government shutdown has now entered its 24th day.
It is already the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, but President Trump says it won't end until Congress agrees to build a border wall. He says congressional Democrats are playing politics with national security, and Democrats say the government will reopen as soon as the president stops insisting on a wall.
We're dealing against people who think that if they can stop me from building the wall, again, we've already done a lot of work, but they think that's a good thing for 2020.
He refuses to back down from his position that the price to reopen the government is $5.7 billion of taxpayer money for a wall he promised Mexico would pay for.
The shutdown's impact is increasingly being felt around the country, and not just by the 800,000 federal workers who have been furloughed or are working without pay. Long delays in security lines are being seen at some airports. Today, the Transportation Security Administration reported a spike in the number of screeners calling out sick.
Meanwhile, the president on the defensive after two separate reports about his possible dealings with Russia. The Washington Post reporting the president went to great lengths to hide the details of a meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin, even taking the notes from his own interpreter. The New York Times reported the FBI opened an investigation into whether or not the president is, quote, secretly working on behalf of Russia. Following the firing of former FBI Director James Comey, members of the Trump administration say the president has been very tough on Russia.
Never worked for Russia. Not only did I never work for Russia, I think it's a disgrace that you even asked that question.
House Democrats are also expected to ramp up investigations of the Trump administration. The Oversight Committee will hold a public hearing with President Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, next month.
Let's head out to the weather patio. Things could get slippery by tomorrow morning. Hi, Gary.
Hi. It all depends on where the freezing drizzle is, and it's very difficult to detect on radar. The precipitation should be very light, but secondary roads, side streets, sidewalks, driveways, those are the ones that could become a little more slippery if they haven't been treated with some salt. Main highways probably are going to be in pretty good shape as long as the road crews put down at least a little bit of salt there. That'll take care of the problems. But we do have an alert day in the forecast for tonight for the possibility for some freezing drizzle, as well as some patchy fog and some flurries. Visible cloud track shows that we had clouds for much of the day today, low clouds here, a little bit of sunshine over toward Milwaukee. Look to the south. The bottom part of your screen, like in Illinois, a lot of that, they had bright sunshine today. You can clearly see the Illinois River there, and that's all the snow that's blanketed the ground there. But of course, here in southern Wisconsin, we remain high and dry. There's the snow depth. You can see basically it stops right at the Wisconsin-Illinois state line. Many parts of southern Illinois picked up as much as 6 inches to a foot of snow. There were some reports in central Missouri of up to 20 inches of snow from this storm that just stayed to the south. We had the clouds, but that was pretty much about it. Now we have some flurries showing up on Doppler track, mainly through central Wisconsin, dropping southward. They're going to mix in with some freezing drizzle, but because of the potential for freezing drizzle, much of the central Midwest is under a winter weather advisory for tonight, including pretty much the southern two-thirds or southwestern two-thirds of Wisconsin, northern Illinois, eastern Iowa, southeastern Minnesota, and western portions of Michigan. Fog also could be an issue. Right now we're seeing some visibilities down in the 3 to 4 mile range out toward the Mississippi River. I'm not expecting thick fog, but with temperatures right now below freezing. In fact, here in Madison, we've dropped to 24. Everybody else is pretty much in the upper 20s. That will contribute to the possibility for some slippery roads. Now, looking further down the road, there is a storm system that will affect us from late Friday into Saturday. Taking a look at some of the longer range computer models, it's going to follow a path very similar to this weekend storm, maybe a little farther north. The U.S. GFS computer model brings perhaps 3 to 4 inches of snow across southern Wisconsin, with the heaviest amounts of 5 or 6 inches or more, mainly across northern Illinois. The European computer model, very similar, showing the heavier amounts definitely to the south across Illinois and Iowa, lighter amounts into Wisconsin, but maybe a couple of inches here. So there are some signs that we could at least whiten up the ground a bit, and then that will lead to colder temperatures toward the end of the weekend. The live view from the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison, you can see the lights reflecting off the frozen surface of Lake Mendota. Our almanac for today shows a high of 30 degrees. That's still 4 degrees above normal. Low temperature of 24, a full 13 degrees above normal. And right now our temperature is at 24. Skies are cloudy. The air is calm. The humidity 81%, so we could see some areas of fog form. Again, temperatures mainly in the 20s across Wisconsin. Madison actually is one of the colder temperatures around. Those temperatures will hold hold nearly steady or even fluctuate up or down a few degrees during the evening. But the overall wind flow right now is from the north and northwest. The southern branch of the jet stream, very powerful. You can see a storm digging into the southwestern part of the country. That will move eastward and bring the chances for snow here by the end of the week. So our forecast does include winter weather advisory for all of southern Wisconsin till midnight north and west of the Dells, or till 9 o'clock north and west of the Dells, till midnight west of Lone Rock, until 9 a.m. for the rest of our viewing area. Low of about 26. We'll stay nearly steady in the middle 20s with some fog, freezing drizzle, and flurries overnight. Freezing drizzle should end early tomorrow. It'll be cloudy with a high of 36. Future track, you can see the clouds, fog, and freezing drizzle tonight. Low temperatures mid-20s. High temperatures tomorrow mid-30s with the freezing drizzle chances mainly confined to the morning. Tomorrow night, early clouds will give way to some clearing late with low temperatures in the mid-20s. Wednesday, partly sunny, a little colder, high temperatures in the middle 30s. Now, as we take a look at the 7 to 10-day forecast, again, some flurries on Thursday, nothing to worry about Wednesday or Thursday. Late Friday into Saturday, that system to our south, we'll keep an eye on it, but right now, looks like we're on the northern fringes of it with perhaps just a couple of inches of snow, followed by colder weather. Low Sunday morning, 3 degrees with wind chills to minus 20, high only at 16 on Sunday. Then near normal temperatures for much of next week, maybe a chance for some light snow or flurries Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. As we take a look at first alert traffic, things are actually very quiet out there. That's the live view from the DOT camera at the Beltline and Park Street. Right now, just seeing some minor slowdowns in the eastbound direction along the Beltline. A little bit of a slowdown westbound approaching Seminole Highway and also on Highway 12 heading northward out of Middleton. But right now, only 16 minutes on the eastbound drive on the Beltline from University Avenue to the interstate, 17 minutes back in the westbound direction. Heading out of Madison, normal times, 27 minutes to Janesville from the Beltline on the interstate, 16 minutes to Sauk City on US 12, and 16 minutes to Sun Prairie on East Washington Avenue and US 151. That's your first alert traffic.
All right, thanks, Gary.
Ahead at 5, a new study showing how lack of sleep may affect your heart health. That's after a break. Welcome back. Most of us do not get enough quality sleep.
Now another study shows how it may be affecting heart health. Dr. Malika Marshall has more.
As a nurse in a sleep clinic, Scott Moran knows how important a good night's rest is professionally and personally.
I was diagnosed about 15 years ago with sleep apnea. I finally had an answer to why I was so tired.
New research shows people who sleep less than 6 hours a night may be at increased risk for cardiovascular disease. The study in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology finds an association between poor sleep quality and having more plaque buildup in the arteries throughout the body. Dr. Deepak Bhatt is a cardiologist at Brigham and Women's Hospital.
Having plaque in the arteries, say to the heart, is what predisposes to heart attacks, and having plaque in the brain is what causes most forms of stroke.
Previous studies show lack of sleep can also increase other heart disease risk factors, like high blood pressure, inflammation, and obesity. But too much sleep may also be bad for your heart. The latest study found that sleeping more than 8 hours a night can lead to increased plaque buildup in arteries, especially for women.
Probably the sweet spot for sleep duration is around 7 to 8 hours. But I should say, though, that's 7 to 8 hours of really good sleep because, again, the quality of sleep matters. It's not just the quantity.
That's the amount of sleep Scott aims to get each night. He encourages anyone having trouble sleeping to see a sleep specialist.
Snoring, waking up more tired than when you went to bed. Any symptoms like that, your alertness doesn't seem, you're having memory loss issues, definitely get it checked.
With the help of a CPAP machine, he says he feels well rested every day. Dr. Malika Marshall, CBS News, Boston.
And stay with us. We'll have another check of your forecast when we return.
Winter weather advisory for some areas.
Yeah, actually, all of us are under the winter weather advisory till 9 p.m. for areas north and west of the Dells, till midnight for areas west of Lone Rock, and till 9 a.m. tomorrow morning for everybody else. Temperatures right now, mid to upper 20s, seeing some areas of fog, especially out to the west, but expect those temperatures to remain above freezing until the end of the week, and then some snow on the way.
All right, more updates in 30 minutes. The CBS Evening News is next.